And hello, everyone. I'm John Evans in the WECT Digital Studio, along with First Alert meteorologist Eric Davis, giving you an update on the expectations for southeastern North Carolina when the winter storm system heads our way this weekend. This is a storm system that, if you've seen the national newscast on NBC Nightly News, is going to impact areas from Arizona and the Southwest all the way up to the eastern seaboard.
Yes.
So, Eric, this is a massive, massive system.
Yeah, well, probably one of the most massive storms in terms of impacts from widespread ice and snow that I have seen in many, many years. I'm hard-pressed to think of one that's going to have this big an impact over this large of an area.
Yep. And as you all in the First Alert Weather Center have seen more models as we sit here at 7:31, can you say with any more certainty that we have a better idea of what might happen around here?
I don't think we know exactly what's going to happen, but I think we do have a better idea than we did 24 hours ago. I think we can definitely say that at this point. I think we're getting a little better idea of the timing of this system and what exactly we may see. Let's go ahead and take a look at some graphics here that I've put together for you. And in terms of impacts, obviously we have to be worried about regional travel. And even here in southeastern North Carolina, we could be dealing with some potential of some freezing rain and sleet, but obviously bigger travel problems for areas off to our north. This is going to be a huge ice storm for central North Carolina, particularly. I think all the major cities, Charlotte, the Triad area, Raleigh-Durham area, all are going to see massive amounts of sleet and freezing rain. We'll see lighter amounts of ice here, but down trees and power outages certainly still a possibility, particularly in Bladen County. Remember, Bladen, Sampson, and Duplin County in our area are now officially under winter storm watches, and that encompasses much of central and western North Carolina as well. And even once the system passes by, dangerous cold, and we have to worry about the length of impacts with this system as well.
Okay, these are the models. If you have been with us the last couple of nights, you have seen and watched our First Alert meteorologist as they compare the American model, the GFS, with the European model. And again, they tell slightly different stories about what are forecast.
Yeah, yesterday they were telling drastically different tales, but now we are starting to see a little more agreement now with these models. As you can see, on the left, of course, is the GFS model. It's the American model. I think the big difference here is that it looks like the cold weather is really going to start to move in here tomorrow night and into Saturday. That's it looks like, especially Saturday evening and Saturday night, that's when we'll have the best chance of seeing temperatures dropping below the freezing mark and maybe even into the 20s in some parts of southeast North Carolina. That's going to be the window, it looks like, for most of the sleet and freezing rain here in southeastern North Carolina. And this is the map at 7 o'clock on Sunday. Notice it has pink almost all the way to the coast, whereas the European computer model, you can already see we're starting to see a changeover. There's still some frozen precipitation in, say, Bladen County and Columbus County, but you're starting to see a changeover. What we're going to see happen on Sunday is temperatures are going to rise. We're going to see temperatures along the coast especially begin to rise over the freezing mark, and then that should work its way towards I-95. But between Saturday night and Sunday morning, I think that's when we're going to see most of the accumulation of ice in southeastern North Carolina.
And that's when the driving is going to be impacted likely the most. As it gets over freezing on Sunday, roads may become a little bit more passable, but in some of those areas where it's not going to get above freezing, that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think along the coast we can safely say that. I think here in Wilmington, I think we are going to see the temperatures jump. May not jump as much if you're in Elizabethtown or over towards Fayetteville. That jump may occur later and maybe not quite as much. But the important thing to note is that we are going to, of course, see freezing rain and sleet, and then generally for most of the area from the coast over towards inland areas, a change over to rain, as temperatures, at least in Wilmington, are projected to be maybe in the neighborhood of 50 degrees. But again, there's still some differences in the models.
Right.
We're just this is how it's looking right now, but there still could be some tweaks to this as we get some even better modeling over the next couple of days.
Okay, take us through another graphic here.
Okay, ice forecast, and again, a little better agreement here too than what we saw yesterday. The American model and the European computer model both painting fairly light amounts of ice in, say, New Hanover and Brunswick County. We'd probably be talking about maybe just a glaze or just very light accumulations of ice, primarily rain. And then the amounts do start to grow a bit on both models as you head further inland. But even here, we're talking about 1/4 of an inch, maybe northern portions of Pender County. And then it's once you get to central North Carolina, that's where you see the much bigger accumulations of ice. That's where I'm a lot more concerned about the possibility of the massive power outages and massive travel problems. But there certainly could be issues, especially near I-95. But generally, the closer you are to the coast, lesser accumulations of ice. As you get over towards I-95, more accumulation, and then the big accumulation is probably in central portions of North Carolina.
Ice impacts here. Again, this is Saturday, and you're going to move and take us through the day and the weekend.
Yeah, and I actually think a lot of the ice may, in fact, fall on Saturday into the early morning hours on Sunday. But at least for Saturday, you can see that we are talking about coastal areas, maybe just a little bit of icing, and then maybe moderate amounts of icing, because remember, the coldest temperatures are likely going to be Saturday evening into Saturday night, and then temperatures will start to rise some on Sunday. So this might be the big impact time in terms of, but it follows our general theme here: lesser amounts of ice near the coast, higher amounts of ice as you move over towards Interstate 95.
The precipitation chances here, and you talked about this at 6 o'clock. Snow is pretty much, I mean, we're not going to have to deal with snow here. We're going to be dealing with kind of like the first three parts of this graphic.
Right. You can pretty much take snow off the table. The reason is, now again, you think of this as a column of air, and in a snow column, it's very easy. You've got temperatures below 32 degrees throughout the entire column. That's the scenario, of course, where you have snow. When you get towards sleet, you see there's at least a small layer of warm air, so the snow falls in, melts, and then there's a pretty large layer of temperatures below freezing at the surface. So what you get is the bouncing. That's the bouncing on contact. You can even hear sleet.
Right.
a lot of times,
it's like
when
a hard rain almost, like a little granular piece of something falling from the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the worst scenario is actually freezing rain in terms of travel, in terms of power outages. This is what you absolutely do not want to see, is freezing rain. And the difference between freezing rain and sleet is you have a much larger layer of warm air, and basically the snow falls through, melts, and then it's right at the surface where temperatures are below freezing, and that's where you have the freezing on contact. And obviously, as you get into rain, surface temperatures warming above freezing, and you just have rain at that point.
And so at this point in time, we're really kind of looking at things starting in the two middle parts of the graphic here, sleet and freezing rain, and ending in rain, at least along the coast at this point.
Yeah, and I even think the rain probably even works its way towards I-95. It'll just be a slower process. Basically, the warming will start at the coast and then slowly throughout Sunday work its way over towards I-95. But I even think even Bladen and Columbus County ultimately will end up as rain as we head into Sunday afternoon and probably Sunday evening.
And so that will be a blessing if we get that. Because then some of the precipitation may have a chance to at least somewhat dry. But then again, you're looking at a frigid night, Sunday night into Monday. And
not so much Sunday night, Monday night.
Monday night into Tuesday, excuse me. You're right. So anything that is on the ground is pretty good chance it's going to freeze.
One blessing is it may turn out that temperatures don't drop below freezing on Sunday. That was something that's kind of unexpected. That's kind of popped up here in our forecasting. But I think there's a good chance most of the area stays above freezing throughout Sunday. I'll have the full 7-day forecast, but that could be critical. May help to improve things, at least here in southeastern North Carolina for Monday. Now, again, this is not going to apply in other parts of the state.
Right.
This is just locally in our area where this may be the case.
Okay, let's take some more graphics here.
Yeah, as we take a look at the impact timeline here, we've made a few little adjustments here. Again, on the scale here, green is unlikely, yellow is possible, and red is likely. Notice we are not forecasting any snow here in southeastern North Carolina. The prime window now for freezing rain, again, Saturday, only if the precipitation arrives. There are some models that have the moisture getting here a bit slower, so it's not clear we're going to have a lot of moisture around here on Saturday. Okay. So I think Saturday night might be the best opportunity to actually see freezing rain in southeastern North Carolina. And then obviously for the first part of Sunday, we have to say it's at least possible until that warming along the coast works its way further inland. Notice I have taken freezing rain out of the forecast, though, for Sunday night and Monday. So that is a change because of the warmer temperatures we're now expecting late Sunday into Sunday night.
Okay, and as we move forward with the graphics again, next up we have...
Yeah, I also want to mention the slippery travel window again, possible basically from Saturday through Monday. Rain, pretty much a sure thing Saturday night into Sunday, and there's still a possibility of power destruction. I'm thinking we may get off lighter on the power. If the ice totals start coming down, we may have less chance to have big power problems, at least here in southeastern North Carolina, beginning in other parts of the state. Very, very different story, of course.
Again, and this graphic, we talked about it last week when we were talking about a wintry precipitation possibility. And in this time here, it has kind of started to move to the right a little bit more. with mainly ice being less than 50% now, rain and ice and purely rain now 60-40 here.
Yeah. I may even need to raise this. I probably need to update this, but rain and ice, probably even a higher percentage than what I have here. Mainly ice. Again, that's probably going to mainly apply Saturday night into the very early morning hours on Sunday. And obviously, the closer you are to the coast, the more rain you're going to see. The closer you are to I-95, the better chance you're actually still going to have of seeing some accumulating ice.
Okay, again, this is the GFS scenario, the American scenario here. And this, if you look at it, the freeze line, which is the blue that you talked about earlier, is almost kind of along Highway 17 here.
Yeah.
You know, right along 17 from Brunswick County down to the border, and then right through Wilmington, up through Jacksonville, and up, almost along Carteret County.
Yeah, but also something else you notice Saturday, and you're going to see this too on the European model. The precipitation really hasn't arrived yet on Saturday. As I said, we may get a later arrival of precipitation, so that cuts down the amount of time we would have for frozen precipitation. Now, again, you can see on the American model, as you said, that freezing line right along the coast, maybe, as you said, maybe near Highway 17. And then as we get into Saturday night, it doesn't move very much. So again, Saturday night, early Sunday morning, this is the window probably for frozen precipitation in southeastern North Carolina, the sleet, the freezing rain. Again, the American model holding on to the cold air, as you'll see, a little bit longer than the European model when I'm going to run that. But even the American model, notice now, has that rain changing along the coast, and then probably as we head into Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, the freezing line is lifting more back west of I-95, and even places like Blainboro and up towards Burgaw, you're seeing your precipitation change over to rain here as we head through Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening.
Yeah, look at the timestamp here. Sunday at 11 p.m. here, likely rain at this point, and you mentioned a pretty good point earlier. Sunday, the temperatures may stay above freezing.
Sunday night,
so we may get a little bit of a grace here that it's not going to freeze again overnight Sunday.
I think that may be the saving grace, as it turns out, for us here in southeastern North Carolina. It looks like things are, we can't certainly sound all clear, but in subtle ways, compared to the rest of North Carolina, it seems like things are kind of breaking our way, relatively speaking. And you'll see this even more strongly here on the European computer. Again, no precipitation Saturday afternoon. You start to see the precipitation moving in those Saturday night. Notice even by Sunday morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, you've already seen the changeover in Wilmington and along the coast. So in this scenario, the European model is lifting the freezing line out faster, and it's a faster change from freezing rain and sleet over to all rain. So this would be a rainier scenario, obviously, for southeastern North Carolina.
Both of these scenarios, though, as you look at them, both of these kind of keep inland areas, Bladen County, inland Columbus County, Robeson County, Duplin County, northern Pender County. Both of them, at least at this point in time in these scenarios, those areas will be under the forecasted ice for a longer period of time.
Exactly. That if there's one thing we've got here, the closer you are to the coast, the more rain you're going to see. The closer you are to I-95, the better chance you're going to have of seeing significant icing. I think that's kind of the running theme, no matter what model you look at.
Yep, and we are getting some folks in here calling up and asking. Somebody asked about Jacksonville, and Jacksonville being along the coast. Fair to say Jacksonville's almost in the same kind of boat that Wilmington will be.
Maybe a little more prone to seeing ice than Wilmington, but yeah, I think the general theme is Jacksonville. Again, probably Saturday night. Maybe a little bit of light icing probably, and continuing into early Sunday morning, but I would expect the freezing line to, again, push through, and we probably would see at some point, probably Sunday morning, a change from freezing rain and sleet to pure rain in Jacksonville.
Somebody asking me here, let me get to that. I want to make sure, is Wilmington going to see a lot of ice? What are the chances for power outages? What we just talked about, the less ice, the less chance for power outages. So it's improving, but not out of the woods yet.
I would say Wilmington, unless something drastic happens, I'm not expecting too many power problems here in Wilmington in terms of ice building up on power lines. I mean, we could see a little bit of minor glazing, maybe some very light accumulations of ice, and that would mainly be for Saturday night into the early morning hours of Sunday. Probably not enough ice in Wilmington to have big power problems. I'm not even sure inland areas are going to have that much of a problem either. They're a little more likely to have some problems, but I'm getting a little bit less concerned about the power outage aspect to the storm, because I think the big ice accumulations are a lot more likely to be in central North Carolina, Fayetteville, Greensboro, Charlotte, Raleigh, places like that are going to have
parts of the state.
Much better chance of having power outage problems than we're going to have here in southeastern North Carolina.
Okay, let's get back to your graphics.
All right, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. This is my final graphic. And again, you probably want to look at some of the subtleties here. We don't always have time to do this on air, but notice the temperatures in Wilmington on Saturday are in the 30s. We're probably going to start off Saturday morning below freezing, 28 degrees, but probably by that time the precipitation hasn't arrived here in southeastern North Carolina. It's probably not going to arrive until either late afternoon or early evening. That's why the chance of precipitation is only 30% on Saturday. Now, if we were to see more significant precipitation on Saturday, that's the window when you have a better chance of seeing the freezing rain and sleet. And again, Saturday evening, Saturday night, that's going to be our best chance of seeing the more widespread icing situation, especially, I'd say, near I-95. And then Sunday, as we showed you, we'll probably have a little bit of ice first thing in the morning, and then from the coast over towards I-95, a changeover to all rain. You notice we're comfortably above freezing here on Sunday. Again, we may have to adjust the highs a little bit, but we have a wide range of possibilities. But 49 degrees is well above freezing. So, and then notice, maybe most importantly, John, now 36 are low on Sunday night. So that really bodes well maybe for Monday not being so bad in terms of the commute. We're going to leave Monday right now as a first alert weather day, but getting a little more optimistic, especially near the coast on Monday, it's not going to be so bad. Now, on the minus side, take a look at the extended forecast.
Now, you were talking about this earlier as we were saying, okay, we get past this, we're doing well, and now you're looking at maybe something else next weekend.
Exactly, and we got to worry. And we've done some stories about pipes and stuff. I'm not as concerned about the pipes this weekend, but next week, look at this. We're going to have a lot of days with highs in the mid-30s, and we're talking about lows, teens, and lower 20s. And for a prolonged period, this is very unusual in southeast North Carolina to have this much cold weather for this long. Yeah, I think pipes could be a real concern. And again, it's probably too early to speculate exactly what we're going to see next weekend, but there are some signals that a winter storm is not completely out of the realm of possibility next weekend either.
Yeah, so we're looking at 36 for the high Thursday, 36 for the high Friday and Saturday.
Look at the lows.
Barely over 40, yeah, and lows in the low 20s.
And maybe some teens sprinkled in there too.
Yeah,
Tuesday morning, we've got 18 degrees. Other part, I was looking at some of the models here. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about single digits in places like Raleigh, Charlotte. I mean, this is really historic cold weather for many parts of North Carolina.
A couple of things I wanted to bring up. Again, as we're talking here, the timing here. Now it appears Saturday night, overnight into Sunday morning. That's a blessing. Most people will be on the roads in those overnight hours. When they get up Sunday morning, they can check on WECT, the weather app. You can, Carolina in the morning on the weekends. You can find out what the forecast is going to be. As soon as you get up Sunday, we'll have reporters out and about and letting everybody know what the roads are. But timing-wise, it's a bit of a blessing here when this thing might come in here.
Yeah, and even some of the newer models are suggesting a little bit less precipitation, which would be a little bit more in the way. But suddenly we're starting to get some pieces of good news.
Well, we talked yesterday that the closer we get, these models will start to give you those little things that you can see to be able to be a little more confident in.
Yeah, the one thing I'm still a little bit concerned about, we're still seeing a lot of differences in the models on the temperatures. And I have to say, the one note of caution we have to say, sometimes models don't do a great job of telling you exactly when this low-level cold air erodes. So there is a possibility that the cold air could linger a little bit longer than the models are saying. And then if that were the scenario, you could still have the potential of some higher ice totals. We can't completely take that off the table yet. Just not saying that that's going to happen, but that is something we need to keep in mind.
And some of the questions we got, some of the questions we're getting on Facebook, people are asking, travel. Again, our part of the state is going to deal with the rain and the freezing rain, but other parts of the state, Charlotte, Asheville, Greensboro, Raleigh, more icy opportunities there and snow, right?
Snow and ice, especially the ice. If you get a lot of sleet and freezing rain, you're going to have a lot of and not to mention the power problems too. Right. I mean, you could have a large part of the state with, we could be talking about hundreds of thousands of people without power, especially in central North Carolina. I really would discourage anybody from traveling outside of the area, especially if you're traveling into the rest of North Carolina, probably till the middle of next week, honestly.
Right. Yeah, because, again, I said this yesterday, have family up in Richmond. They were expecting anywhere between 8 and 11 inches of snow and then ice on top of it. And so they're buckling in for what could be a Monday or a Tuesday before things even get to the point where they can drive, and they're used to driving in that country.
Yeah, I mean, we're not getting off scot-free, but compared to what's going to be happening just to our north, we've got a pretty good deal, I'd have to say, at this point.
Okay, well, that is our update right now. 20 minutes in this update. Eric will be looking at some more models as we go through the night. We'll be on WECT News at 10, on Fox Wilmington, WECT News at 11, and of course, the folks will be in overnight and bright and early 5 a.m. on Carolina in the morning, getting everything ready to take you through the preparations. Do want to mention before we go, let me call this up so I've got everything right. Bladen County Schools has moved to remote learning on Monday. Bladen County has moved to remote learning on Monday. New Hanover County, Brunswick County, Pender County, Columbus County, they're still kind of keeping an eye on things. But that's the only public school system that we know of that has made a definitive decision on changing anything from Monday, moving to remote learning in Bladen County schools on Monday.
And again, we kind of give you a sense of how things look right now, but again, there still could be some twists and turns before this is all said and done.
Okay. All right. For First Alert meteorologist Eric Davis, I'm John Evans. We appreciate you watching. We will see you tonight again on WECT News at 10 and at 11 o'clock. Take care, everybody. We'll see you later.